John and Ken Show. John Cobell, Ken Shampoo. It's KFI AM 640.
It sure is. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. Oh, all right. We go back to the whole situation at the border. Let's just start where we did most of yesterday's show yesterday on it. And the word today is that these two immigration bills introduced by Republicans in the House of Representatives, one's down for defeat, and the other one, they realized they couldn't get enough votes, so they're delaying it until tomorrow. Now, the one that lost today, and it was a pretty significant margin, 231 to 193, was, quote, the more conservative one that met more of President Trump's demands concerning things like funding for the border wall, security, E-Verify, and, of course, less of an amnesty and more of an end to chain migration, diversity lottery, and blah, blah, blah. It was soundly beaten. I don't think either one of these bills is going to pass. I don't know if I care, because this is the same thing as, you know.
It's a waste of time. They would never even come up for a vote in the Senate. This is political masturbation. This is what they do so they can go back to their districts this fall and say, hey, I was in favor of this bill, and, you know, some of the wishy-washy Republicans stopped it or some of the evil Democrats stopped it, but I was in favor of it. They can all play tough guy.
Well,
that's all it's for.
There are so many different factions in that political bunch, that swamp in the House of Representatives on this issue and on many issues. And there are the really hardliners who believe that Trump's right. Arrest everybody that comes here illegally. That's against the law. And they want to end chain migration. They want to... Right. Then there's another faction, and these are Republicans too, who don't want to go that far. And they really are sympathetic towards the dreamers. And we ought to...
No, so they're bribed by big business.
Let's have some border security. Let's do a few things. And then, of course, there's the Democrats who really just want open borders. They don't want any of this stuff. They want to just dismantle ICE. And Border Patrol all goes away.
They want the issue to run on. They don't want to solve any problems because they think they can whip up their followers by constantly screaming about all the heartless policies, all the cruel policies of the Trump administration. So they are not going to support anything. So this is complete waste of time. They've just all taken down their pants and they're amusing themselves. Well, they are. And, you know, this is the theater that they do. These guys don't do much that's productive. They do stuff for show and for theater and to give them talking points and campaign commercials and get contributions. That's what they do. They're not in the business of solving this problem. It's over 30 years of this.
Trump tweeted out, and this is what you were talking about in the Senate, what is the purpose of the House doing immigration bills when you need 9 votes by Democrats in the Senate and the Dems are only looking to obstruct, which they feel is good for them, and as you just mentioned, for the midterm elections coming up, Republicans have to get rid of the stupid filibuster rule. It is killing you. And again, in case people listening don't know what that is, if you don't get to 60 votes on a matter in the Senate, 60 out of 100 senators, then the other side can filibuster, obstruct, basically derail things.
Yeah.
And the Republicans don't have 60 seats, and they can normally not get... And by the way, all the Democrats fold their arms. They want nothing to do with Trump. They want to defeat him in the midterms and defeat him in 2 years. You're not getting any of their votes on anything.
The stupid Republicans could do away with this rule in 5 minutes, but they don't want to because
it comes back to haunt them?
Someday when the Democrats take over, the Republicans want the same ability to block all the Democrat bills. So this has been going on for decades, this nonsense. That's why nothing gets done. Nothing is solved. Nothing is fixed. It's a waste of time even to say Congress should fix. They're not going to fix anything. And that's why Obama and Trump have been using executive orders, some of them illegal, to try to change things because they can't get anything. Congress, we've come to the point where we're not capable of governing ourselves, that the original democracy idea that was created in the 1700s has completely failed. It doesn't work in modern time. So we're stuck.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a border situation that goes on for 30 years, it means the system designed to govern the country no longer works in this era. But you know what? They all can get on TV and bloviate, and they can all produce campaign commercials to make them look like tough guys. And that's what this is about today.
Now, dealing with the issue at hand and what we spent a lot of time yesterday on, Trump's executive order ending the separation of families at the border. And, of course, we went through it many times during the show. This is unworkable. Everyone always saying it's just a stopgap provision until we get legislation, which now it doesn't look like we're going to get anyway.
No, and in fact, it's a stopgap until a judge throws it out because
probably
Trump's order is illegal, and he knows it's illegal.
Well, that may not matter.
It was going to shut down the hysteria for
We
a
may
few
not
days.
need a judge if you believe fake news in the Washington Post. Apparently, they put out a story that the Border Patrol may stop referring migrant parents who cross into the U.S. illegally with children for prosecution. That would mean no zero tolerance, which Trump keeps marching around declaring it's still going to be zero tolerance at the border, which we said is unworkable. You can only hold on to the kids for 20 days. So if you can't get this whole thing through the courts in 20 days, you have to release the children.
All right, that's what the Border Protection official says. 2 paragraphs later, they have a Justice Department spokeshole. Denied. There'll be any changes to zero tolerance, and prosecutions will continue.
Well, so they put up in italics there an update. This story's been updated to clarify how migrant parents will be processed going forward. An earlier version incorrectly stated the Trump administration was suspending prosecutions for parents of migrant children. The senior Customs and Border Protection official quoted below was describing how the agency's operations would change to no longer refer parents of migrant children for prosecution. Decisions whether or not to prosecute are the purview of the Department of Justice. Boy, there's a
the hell.
There's a paragraph of gobbledygook.
Yeah. In other words, it was a fake story?
I think mostly it was.
Yeah, it was a fake story.
But everybody was trying to figure out how this is workable, Trump's plan, because it's not. Right? Because you can't have zero tolerance, and you can't detain the children and the parents indefinitely, particularly the children, as we know. So how are you going to... There's another report that the Pentagon may send lawyers there to try to speed things up, focusing specifically on the family situation. If you get a family at the border, you keep the family together and you run the lawyers right in there into a court as fast as you can and figure out whether they're going or they're staying.
Trump, last night at his rally in Minnesota, went on for hours and insisted it's going to be zero tolerance. There's no changes.
Yeah, no, we're getting that audio because I read some of it this morning.
He's not talking like he's climbing down. I mean, the liars in the far left-wing media keep screaming he's completely capitulated. No, he put out a fake order to shut everybody up for a few days. When that order gets tossed out by a court, there's no other choice than to go back to the parents being prosecuted, and then the court is going to order that the children be released from the parents after 20 days. Well, we're all back to square one. This has not been fixed in any way, and it won't be fixed because obviously Congress is impotent.
He has a magical way sometimes of cutting through an issue, and apparently he's taken a particular interest in this whole immigration and the border issue. And that's the clip we're looking for. He goes on to a long rant about how the Democrats just want open borders. Yeah, they want everybody in the world to come here if they want to, which is practically what we get. If we end the separation of the families and we don't prosecute anybody criminally who comes in, we put them into civil court, and then they don't show up for a hearing, which many of them do not. And
the Democrats have a lot of emotional and practical reasons for this. Many of them are progressives who hate America and the origins of America. They hate the white European history of America. And they mandate that be changed dramatically. They also look at the...
they also know a lot of these people will sign up with their party.
That's right. The immigrants are also being
I think Trump even talked about that, too.
Well, it's true. Ultimately, if the Democrats get their way, these people become citizens somewhere down the road, and then that's a massive trove of millions of extra votes, which would tip the balance of power. And the third thing is, for the short term, those are longer-term goals. In the short term, the more they beat on the issue, the more they get, the mommies weeping at home. And what was that story you were talking about yesterday? The rage donations. Yes. People getting so worked up that
rage giving.
And some of the money is going to go to Democratic politicians and Democratic political action committees to beat the Republicans. So, it works for them. You're not going to get a single vote out of any Democrat for anything on this, and the Republicans don't have enough because they're splintered into pieces and they still have the filibuster.
Which, by the way, is what happened today. That immigration bill, the more hardline bill, did not get a single Democratic vote in the House.
No, and it never will.
It didn't get enough Republican votes either. That's why it went down.
That, and it's just irritating because all the geeks cover these stories as if these things have a chance, as if this is an all-stage theater. It's nonsense. A lot of the Republicans aren't serious either. What they want is a campaign commercial for their constituents, especially if they're in a swing district. They do the polling. What do my constituents want? They want to see me fighting for the wall, fighting for tough immigration standards. Okay, give me a fake vote. They do the fake vote. Now they got the campaign commercial. Now they can put it in the speeches in front of the Kiwanis Club.
All right, there's a couple more aspects of this we'll talk about when we come back. We'll be talking to Jessica Vaughn from the Center for Immigration Studies after 2:30 because she wants to tell you what's in these two Republican bills. They're both probably going to go down to defeat. One did today, probably the other one tomorrow, but they are very different. Coming up.
Ken Show, John